My name's Grant Schwartz.
And I'm Spencer Meyers.
Welcome to Pro Lacrosse Talk.
On Schreiber.
Sidearm win, scores!
Now it's one. Padel scores! Hands off for Rabel. Switches hands and scores!
Carly O'Miller showing off those shifty skills.
Right off the bat, there's Lyle Thompson.
Welcome to Season 2 of the Pro Lacrosse Talk podcast, the voice of Pro Lacrosse. I'm Hutton, he's Adam, and together we're bringing you interviews from all your favorite players and coaches, as well as news and analysis from all 4 professional lacrosse leagues. Welcome to another episode of Pro Lacrosse Talk. We are here with Grant Schwartz and Spencer Meyers, the founders of Flow Fantasy Inc. They just started the first lacrosse fantasy platform. They are our partners in this. We're just providing the content. They are providing the platform, and we are happy to have them on the show. Grant and Spencer, welcome to Pro Lacrosse Talk.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Want to tell us a little bit about, what you guys have been working on and kind of how you first got into lacrosse and then how you came up for the idea with this platform?
Yeah, so we've both been playing lacrosse for a while. Spencer's been playing a little longer than I have. I started playing in elementary school, and I stopped. But I picked it back up again when our team needed a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started playing goalie. And I've loved the sport ever since. Yeah. Spencer, what about you?
Yeah, as you said, I've been playing lacrosse for a long time, since about third grade. Grant and I remember we were teammates a while back in third grade or so, but then he came back and went to middle school. We needed a goalie. Did a great job, and we've kind of been good friends ever since. That's pretty much it.
That's awesome. So you guys
is that how you guys ended up meeting through lacrosse?
Yeah, we've gone to school together for forever, but yeah, we've been very good friends for the last couple of years. So
awesome. And you guys are just in high school still, correct?
Yeah, we're sophomores.
Yeah. So you guys are the geniuses behind this. Let's get into the platform itself a little bit. I know Adam and I, we've talked to you and talked to a lot of people know we ran our own challenge last year, but it was very basic. We did a lot of the scoring by hand. You guys have actually built this out because, Grant, you're a coder, and Spencer, you're more of the marketing guru of the team. Talk to us a little bit about how you guys put your heads together and thought you could make this a reality. Yeah,
so I love coding, as you said, and it's one of my passions. And we saw kind of a gap in the market, I guess you said, you could say, because we did the research. We wanted to play fantasy lacrosse. Kind of nothing existed. So we kind of set out to build it ourselves, and over the last couple months we've been building it out, and Spencer's been doing a lot of the marketing, doing all the outreach. We crossed over 600 users in the last couple of days, so we're definitely getting up there. Job's not done, but we're getting going.
That's awesome. And Spencer, how have you kind of approached marketing the platform? I know you guys have been using Instagram, and what has the reception been? Because again, I mentioned how a lot of people have been itching for fantasy lacrosse, but there really hasn't been anything. I know leagues in the past have done something, the NLL's done their own type of thing. The MLL has. It's never actually been an actual fantasy league, though. It's more of a daily fantasy. You pick a few players. This, though, you're actually going to have the opportunity to draft players, compete against your friends, very traditional style fantasy sports platform that we were accustomed to. So how have you guys kind of gone about, promoting it?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously with you guys being a content company, that's great for us. And the content side is really a big part of the fantasy sports kind of industry. And additionally, I've been kind of reaching out to some old coaches who are pretty connected with lacrosse, and just trying to target kind of the younger kids, because I feel like they'd be very interested, especially considering with the pandemic that just happened. A lot of people missed their seasons, right? So it's a good opportunity for people to connect with their friends, stay connected with the sport. But also, there's a huge market in the older age groups for fantasy football, fantasy basketball, and nothing exists for lacrosse. So that's really who we're trying to get to sign up.
Yeah. I think you guys are going to have a lot of people clamoring to get in on this, especially with PLL Island. It's going to be a great opportunity to grow your platform and grow fantasy lacrosse as a whole. So kind of let's talk about the platform. What can people expect for those who haven't necessarily signed up yet?
Well, so you can basically expect everything, almost everything, out of your normal fantasy football or basketball platform. So you'll create a league, you can invite friends. On July 10th, you can start your draft, and it's a live draft. So you pick your players, you assemble your roster in real time, and then basically after that, we have the waiver wire. You can make trades, you propose trades, manage your roster, and then it's all automatically scored and tallied up, and it's displayed for you and your friends.
And there are some nuances just because of the abbreviated format and because the PLL is so different from the NBA and the NFL in the sense that there are so few teams in comparison. So what we've done is we have 2 league type options, which means that there's 2 different roster sizes you can pick. You can select the roster size that'll have, I believe, is it 10 starting players, another one with 7, one being an alternate. So there's more information about that on our website and everything. But yeah, we just, because there's so few teams, we have to kind of navigate different ways to make sure there are enough teams in the league to generate points and that kind of thing.
No, that's awesome. And for people that don't know, it is flowfantasy.com is the website you guys want to go to sign up. Really easy to sign up. Again, it's like they said, it's a very simple platform. Once you create your username, you have a team name, you can create a league. They have QR codes that you can send to your friends that you can sign up that way. You can send invites via email. You also, guys, just announced that you have a contest format. So the fact that you can do a league with 2 to 7 teams, or I believe it's 8 to 12 teams, but you also created the contest option. So if you have more than 12 participants, you can essentially still compete against each other, more in like a, more like a group setting. You're still not going to you're going to have overlap with players and stuff, and you're going to be in separate leagues, but you can still compete against a larger pool, which is pretty cool because it gives us at Pro Lacrosse Talk an option, to have our own contest for people to enter and other brands to kind of buy into this too and, have their own contest as well. So talk a little bit about that, feature that you guys just added.
Yeah. So Spencer, actually, the way it came about is Spencer wanted to play with his camp. And so a lot of his camp friends, and, 12 people is a lot, but it's not enough, right? You want to be able to play with 50, 100 even people. And so contests allow you to do that. And it takes away some of the nuance of fantasy, but I think it brings a lot of fun because you're able to compete against so many people.
Yeah, when I thought of the idea, I was trying to explain it to Grant in a way that makes sense. And kind of the way I thought about it was you have a March Madness bracket challenge. So you start a pool with your friends and you fill out your bracket. But then there's tons of like celebrities running their own challenges for giveaways and stuff of that nature. So that's kind of the idea of contests. And it's really easy for people like you and any other lacrosse companies to organize contests, giveaways, stuff kind of like that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what came to mind when you mentioned the March Madness was, that's kind of what I thought. You always have those March Madness pools where you can enter one bracket into multiple contests. You'll be able to do that with this as well. Ours is Pro Lacrosse Talk is our code if you guys want to sign up for our contests. You can enter the code Pro Lacrosse Talk to enter our contest. We're probably going to have some prizes we're going to give away. And if you guys are a brand listening to this, you can also create your own. So if you're a lacrosse brand and you want to, reach out to your followers and do a contest or promotion like that, you can also create your own as well on the website. So some really great stuff. Let's talk about a little bit about the scoring and how that's going to work. Because I know there's 2 separate type of leagues. There's the 2 to 7, which means that you're going to have starters for face-off and goalie. And then the 8 to 12, you're going to have that actually be a flex position. So talk a little bit about the nuances of that and what people can expect from those 2 different types of leagues.
So the scoring system is going to be the same for both different types of leagues. Of course, the difference will be if you select a league type with 2 to 7 teams, it will be higher scoring than the league type with 8 to 12 teams. And the reasoning behind that was, of course, there are 7 PLL teams. So if you're going to have a fantasy league with 8 to 12 teams, the roster size need to be smaller. That way you can have the same amount of starting players. Because for our 8 to 12 team, we have a roster position called the alternate, and that's either going to be filled by a goalie or a FOGO because our scoring system for that will be the same. So that's one thing that we can kind of tell you guys right off the bat.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think it's a good way to handle it because, again, like you said, there's only 7 teams. So you want to make sure that everyone has the ability to have a starter in terms of a face-off or goalie. So I think that's the right way to go about it. Going off of that, though, too, have you guys, some more of the fun side, have you guys ran across any creative fantasy names that people have been coming up with? I think that's the funnest part is coming up with a name, either for your league or for your team. So is any ones that have been, catching your eye?
I don't know. I can't think of any.
Yeah, we're yet to see some. I'd love to see some soon, though. Maybe you guys can come up with a list or something.
I know we have an article out that has a few on there right now that you guys can check out. And we were getting some creative names. I know Whips Nation had a few. Reading Rambo was one. I think Salt Lake City threw out, "Can I get an amen?" So there's some creative ones out there. I think that's the most fun part though about fantasy, at least for me, is, coming up with a name that's kind of like a pun, for your fantasy name. But no, that's great. And then, in terms of the actual fantasy experience, a lot of it is the most fun part is being able to check the status of your fantasy team. And I know, again, that was a pain point for a lot of our users in our past challenges is, they had to wait multiple days to get the results, and no one really likes that. And we unfortunately just didn't have the bandwidth to make that faster. But talk to us a little bit about when people can expect the results from their teams, from the games. We're going to have multiple games each day during this championship series. How fast can people expect the results to be on their fantasy team?
Yeah, so this was quite a challenge when building the platform out, but we've I think we've overcome it, and you should be able to expect to see the results within probably 10 or so minutes of the game ending. That's great. Even next year, we're looking at doing real time, as in, instantly. But for now, it's around 10 minutes and just a technological limitation. But yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, I think that's something that makes it, more fun to watch, that you can see it update. 10 minutes again is nothing compared to, the days that people were waiting before. So I think that's really, really exciting. Going a little bit more about you guys, what's your favorite team? Who are you kind of rooting for in this championship series? Any favorite players? Yeah.
I'm a Tom Schreiber guy myself.
All right. I like it. I like to hear that.
Schreiber. Yeah. Right.
I went to one of the Redwoods games last year, but one of my good friends is from Jules Henneberg's hometown, so I kind of root for them and him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
think one of you would go with Schreiber, being from the New York area.
Yeah, I'm a Schreiber fan as well. I just like the way he carries himself. He's all business, and that's why I'm kind of an Archers fan, I guess, if I had to pick one. What do you guys think of the recent waiver wire moves too? With the teams picking up some guys. There are a lot of Canadian guys that from the NLL that are finding their ways on the roster. Any ones there that stood out to you guys?
No, not really. I mean, I do think it's very interesting, the crossover between the leagues. I think that's going to be really big in the next couple of years, is having people playing both the NLL and the PLL and potentially the MLL. I mean, we'll see. Mm-hmm. I think that's huge, and it's going to be huge for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And so kind of going off this, you guys have been making up the scoring system. I know it's not perfectly complete yet, but there's always talk, whether it's fantasy football, basketball, baseball, who goes first overall. So if it comes to it right now, who you think? I know that's a loaded question, but who you take number one?
I'd go with MVP Matt Rambo. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't, but okay. Grant, what do you think?
I've written the code. I wrote the algorithm. It's Trevor Baptiste for me.
Trevor Baptiste. All right.
We've ranked all of them, and that's it from last year.
That's really interesting to me too, because I don't know how much you guys play fantasy football. So for me, I always take a running back in the first round. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Tom Brady, Drew Brees on the board. I'm taking a running back because they're so hard to find productive running backs. So what's the position do you think that people should target? Do you go an attackman route, or do you go more specialized position like a face-off or a goalie?
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on. So we're trying our best to make it kind of equal amongst all the positions because, of course, in fantasy football, you want a running back. They're the most valuable. But we're really trying to make it so every position's equal. But, I mean, what would you say, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about with the way our face-off and goalie scoring works is if you have a really productive goalie or a really productive face-off player, Bogo, you're going to have really high output. But if they're mediocre, it's going to be it's not going to make a very large difference. So I feel like if you pick a very productive goalie or Fogo, you could reap really big rewards. But really, as Spencer said, we've done the math, we've written the algorithms, we've run the back tests. We've really strived to have parity among all positions because we've seen how it's kind of annoying in other fantasy sports.
No, absolutely. I think that's key too. The fact that you guys are putting so much work on the back end of this. Me and Adam, when we did ours last year, we found that we kind of, gave the Fogos a little too much, juice when people were we're starting them or whatever. And I think that's important that you guys are running these simulations, and I'm as excited as anyone is to play this and to draft. I think the draft is going to be the most exciting. You get 2 weeks of playing fantasy lacrosse, but everyone loves draft day, and everyone, starts out at level playing field, thinks they have the best team. So I think seeing that come to fruition is going to be exciting. But we appreciate you guys jumping on. Any parting thoughts that people should know before they sign up?
No, I mean, just go sign up at flowfantasy.com, invite your friends. It'll be a ball, I promise. Yeah.
You guys have said, invite some friends who don't exactly play lacrosse or follow the sport. It's going to be a lot of fun, being that there aren't many sports going on this summer.
No, I think that's key. You hit something right there, Spencer, that we should, I mentioned this on our podcast earlier too. You should be inviting people that aren't lacrosse fans, that are more fantasy sports fans, because I think it'll get them into lacrosse, get them watching the sport. I think what you guys are doing is really great. I'm really excited. I think, it's a legitimate platform. If you guys sign up, again, like Grant said, flowfantasy.com, you'll see immediately, you can create the league. You're going to have the draft lobby coming up in July 10th. It's going to be a real fantasy platform, guys, and we're really excited. And we appreciate you guys too. Linking up with us, we're going to produce a lot more content for you guys. You guys can also sign up for our fantasy lacrosse newsletter as well. Thank you, Grant and Spencer, for coming on the show and building this platform.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Pro Lacrosse Talk podcast. Today I want to talk to you about our sponsor, Anchor. We've been using Anchor for the Pro Lacrosse Talk podcast since the very start. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place, and better yet, it's free. They allow you to easily record and edit your podcast, and once it's published, they send it out to all the major networks such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and many more. They also connect you with advertisers so you can start making money from your podcast right away. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast today, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Today, I also want to talk to you about Design Tree. On our Design Tree store, we have several t-shirt designs like the Pro Lacrosse Talk tee I'm wearing today, our Blast Lacrosse shirt, Lacrosse's Medicine shirt, and many more designs on the way. Design Tree is also home to hundreds of other t-shirt designs in the realm of sports and pop culture. To help support the podcast, please consider checking out our Design Tree store at dsgntree.com/pro-lacrosse-talk and grab a shirt today.